96% of people aged 67 don't make it financially. 7% out of that 96% are still working because they have to. The other guys are either dead or dead broke. It's an unbelievable statistic, but only 4% aged 67 have a successful financial retirement. The stats are unbelievable, Brian.
It's incredible, really, isn't it, to think that so many people, although they think they're trying, just don't manage to get there.
I think most people get so busy trying to make a living, they forget about sitting down and working out ways to get ahead financially.
Absolutely, and that's with business people as well. You know, people are so much worried about employing people, keeping people's jobs, making sure their business doors are open. They forget one thing, they forget to look after themselves financially. It's an amazing statistic, but it's something that we're working on, we're passionate about working on. Hi, I'm Brian Washbourne. My background comes from construction. I've had 33 years in the construction industry. I met David about 15 years ago when I was supplying him with product. He's a property coach, an awesome property coach. I've known this guy for a long time now. All I worry about is making sure that the acquisitions we're involved in are awesome acquisitions in great locations and built by reputable builders that we can trust. David's background comes from being a property coach for the last 20 years.
Hi guys, I'm David Bajay from Bugwash Property. Been a property coach for almost 20 years now. I actually absolutely love property. I bought my first property in 2004. Never forget the price, cost me $318,500, and it's been a wild ride ever since. From 2004 through to about 2013, I built my portfolio up to about 30 properties, so I like going hard when I do things, and it gives me a lot of pleasure, and it's an honour to help clients build their portfolios as quickly and as large as they want to build them. There's three things that we focus on at Bugwash Property. We focus on helping people build their wealth for the future, pay less tax, because let's face it, we all hate paying tax. We also focus on helping people pay off their mortgages quicker. I just think it's really, really sad how people will go out there and basically work for 45, 50 years and then end up retiring on, in most cases, a third or a quarter or a fifth or even less of what they were used to while they were working for the previous 50 years. I mean, what a crazy setup. I mean, the way that we like to help people is to get them set up on a passive or residual income through rental return, where if they're set up properly, they actually get richer as they get older, and they're not digging into their principal. They can spend the return, but not dig into their principal. I just think it's crazy how the traditional system is you get out there, you work for 50 years, you end up, most people end up broke or close to broke, then the next generation has to start from zero all over again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and even with investing though, statistics tell us that 85% of people who invest in residential property end up selling that property before they make any money. And that to me is just so sad that somebody's got the courage enough to get out there and give it a shot and then let it go before they make any money. And it only happens through a lack of knowledge and understanding of the process and the timing of the market, the fact that they probably brought it at the wrong time.
Not knowing when to get in and then not knowing when to get out, having no idea. So.
Yeah. And our video series, Helping Landlords, is all about trying to educate people on how to prevent that from happening, because those people are selling that property just when the market starts coming good again, and they end up selling it to somebody who makes all the profit. I mean, how sad is that?
But as we all know, prevention's better than cure, so if we can help these people or get to these people before they go out there and make that first big mistake, investing into the wrong type of property in the wrong market at the wrong time, well, that makes it massively easier as far as that goes.
I mean, at the moment, if you invest your money in the bank, there was an article in the paper in the weekend's bulletin that they have this honeymoon period where they'll pay you like 3% for the first 3 months, then it goes down to 0.75% or 1%. That's the interest you're going to earn on a savings account in one of the major 4 banks. And that's nothing. You're going to go broke real quick if you're earning less than what inflation's rate is. The good thing about investing in property, if you've got enough money to pay cash for a property, you can invest in property and get in the right property a 5 to 6% rental return. So that's way better than putting your money into a bank account or a savings account. It's just, plus you get the capital growth benefits along the way as well.
I mean, it's so interesting. We live in a time where there's never ever been more information available on the internet about investing per se, but I think there's never been a time where people have been more confused because they just don't know who to listen to and who not to. I mean, they watch those shows on TV, Today, Tonight, Current Affair. There wouldn't be a week go by where some poor person hasn't, lost their life savings. It happens. It's on TV all the time. So I think that makes people even more scared. So people through their 20s, 30s, 40s, and early 50s are too busy trying to make a living and bring up a family to look at ways of getting ahead. And then for most people, they only get serious about setting up for a successful retirement sort of mid to late 50s, and they leave it so late that they go and take all these silly, unnecessary risks, and a lot of them end up losing all their dough. And they're the ones that end up getting on TV, so then it puts even more fear into people.
Yeah, they go with the companies.
It's a double-edged sword.
They go with the groups that are offering the biggest returns.
All this get-rich-quick stuff, but I mean, prevention is better than cure. Look at your situation now and make time work for you, not against you.
I tell you, the thing that always amazes me is people dream about owning an owner-occupier property. Yeah, it's everyone's aiming and hoping and wishing and praying that one day they can have an owner-occupied property they can call their own. But when it comes to investing, they seem to have a different opinion on that. It's exactly the same thing. It's a property, but it just means they're not living in it. They've got tenants living in it, and it seems scary for them. So it's not scary to have an owner-occupied, but it seems to be scary to own an investment property. But I think it's only because they worry about what about if the tenants move out, what's going to happen then. It's just a lack of understanding and simplifying the process of owning an investment property. And that's the thing that we've become really good at doing over the years is working out all the things, knowing more what not to do as much as what to do when it comes to owning residential investment property. So it'd be really good if people just got a little bit more courageous and better understanding and better knowledgeable in regard to residential investment.
I mean, for most people, let's face it, all they really have is a little bit of super. They either rent or they have a mortgage. They don't have any other investments outside their super.
No.
And I think something like over 60% of those people don't even know where their super is, let alone, they've never, ever met their actual fund manager, wouldn't have a clue where their super is, whether it's, sitting in a bridge in Pakistan or wouldn't have a clue. I mean, surely it makes more sense to go out there, find people that you know, like and trust, that have got the experience and the expertise that can take you through all the various steps and know exactly where your super is, what's it doing, where you can drive past it, walk through it, know where your super is, know and build a relationship with the people that are looking after you. Isn't that a better scenario?
Oh, absolutely, but that's taking responsibility of your super, and that's, I think, the thing that a lot of people just aren't doing. It's just this thing in the background that's being...
Well, they put it in the too hard basket.
They do, yeah. So they just don't even... Some people leave their jobs without even transferring their super over into the new super fund manager. It's ridiculous.
Well, I think in all my time of doing this as a property coach over 20 years, I think I've met one person that diligently, every single time they switch jobs or companies, they transfer this. I can only think of one person ever who was brilliant at actually being on top of and really managing their super.
And there's people out there that will help them with finding their super. If super's spread over 3 or 4 different funds, they could be paying fees for each of those funds to have that super sitting there. They could be paying 3 or 4 lots of insurance policies. It's ridiculous. They just need to become a little bit more responsible and actually do something about it.
Yeah, so when I started out, I was teaching clients the buy and hold strategy. Why? That's what everybody does. The buy and hold strategy, it works. It'll always work. It worked back then, it's working now, and it'll work tomorrow. The problem with the buy and hold strategy is for most people, most of the time, it's just too slow. What I learnt along the way is that property works in cycles. There's 4 phases to every cycle. You've got your boom phase, slowdown phase, slump phase, and recovery phase. But when it's all said and done, the vast majority of the money is made in one phase out of the 4, which is the boom phase of the cycle. So what I learnt along the way is I thought, man, there's got to be a way where you can work out when the market's going to rise. So a way where you can learn when to get in, when to get out, and then not hold property through 3 phases of the cycle where you don't make any money, or actually sometimes you lose money. It's too slow. You can speed up the wealth creation process massively, learning how to become a master at timing the market rather than just spending time in the market.
And it's not rocket science on how that formula works, is it, Dave? It's where there's jobs, there's growth, and jobs are where it all starts. So where there's jobs, people follow those jobs. People move from other towns to get those jobs. So as these people move into the community, there's a demand for housing. And when there's a demand for housing, that pushes rents up, and the
Followed
cycle...
by property prices going up.
And the cycle then begins again, and that's where the boom cycle begins. And you just need to not get emotionally involved in that cycle, though. And most people make the mistake of listening to media or listening to their uncle or auntie, and somebody says, oh, it's the property cycle's all finished, it's all over now. They're not looking at it logically and not looking at the end result. We look at the numbers, we look at what's happening in the community, and we can understand that when the property cycle finishes, when it reaches its peak, and we know when to get out of the property cycle.
It's very, very exciting. There's lots and lots of money in property if you do it right, but you can lose lots of money if you do it wrong. It's like anything else. You got to know when to get in, when to get out, and just rinse and repeat. You've only really got 3 choices out there when it comes to investing. You can either not learn from your mistakes, which isn't really clever, or you can learn from your mistakes, or you can be really smart and learn from other people's mistakes. So to me, if you're going to be an investor, you're better off learning from people that have already done what you're wanting to do, so you don't have to make any of your own mistakes and just copy everything that they do right. You can get there so much faster, so much quicker, without going through any of the pain and suffering.
And one of the things that probably puts us in a position where we can speak about that with a little bit of authority is the fact that we invest in the same location. So, this guy's always had a philosophy: if he's going to encourage somebody to buy a property in a particular location, he'll buy one there first. So he doesn't just say, you go and do this while he's out doing something else. He's already purchased a property in that location. They're investing in the same locations he's investing in. So that's money where your mouth is stuff, and that's talking the talk and walking the walk. Makes a big difference, because some of the locations he's invested in over the years weren't the right locations, and he learned from those mistakes. And he can pass that knowledge on to other people. Yeah, well, it's incredible, because David and I meet with people all of the time, and I don't remember one time that we haven't had a meeting with somebody and where they've walked out and thought, I don't want to do this, because what we're doing genuinely helps people get ahead financially. It's incredible how we can help everyone. Even if you don't have enough money to be able to do it on your own, we can help by doing it with you. Our fractional business enables us to help absolutely everyone in Australia. If you could come up with 3 tips on how people can improve their financial position, what would it be?
Well, number one, you've got to, I always say to people that financial success is 2 steps. Step 1, spend less than you earn. And step 2, invest the difference wisely. So with that that's the first tip. And with that investing wisely, I mean, you look at most people, the main thing they have to invest is super, but the typical industry retail fund is not investing super wisely. So it's the concept of putting your super under the microscope, the performance of your super under the microscope. You can do that through the ASIC Money Smart calculators and compare what you're going to get out of that compared to taking your super, setting up an SMSF and investing into residential property, right types of properties, right markets, right time, and looking at the difference of how well you can do. Another tip would be to utilise the available tax benefits in Australia. So again, if you're buying the right types of properties, right markets, right time, you can pick up some phenomenal tax deductions on property, and then you can put yourself in a position where you're creating a cash flow positive experience. I know with our duplexes for people on $85,000 a year or more, often these duplexes will create a cash flow positive scenario of $1,000 a month roughly. Well, that's an extra $12,000, $13,000, $14,000 a year that you can put into your mortgage to pay off your mortgage quicker. So you can own these properties, and 100% of the cost of these properties are being met with your combination of your tax deductions and the tenants paying their rent. It's awesome. I mean, why wouldn't you look at that scenario? It's just a brilliant option.
If we could stereotype investors, who should be worrying about becoming a property investor and who should just not worry about it at all?
Well, I mean, the only people that need to not worry about it are people who already have an absolute, foolproof plan that they're going to be in that top 4% of people who are financially independent at 67. But I mean, if you're not, I mean, everybody else should be, the other 96% should be looking at how they can take advantage of investing in property and how they can do it. I mean, we have two programs out there. We have the program for personal investors, then we also have a program for fractional investment, where people that traditionally have to walk away from opportunities can now have the chance to buy into a piece of a property or a fraction of a property where they can still get all the benefits of property investing without all those usual hassles that most people are scared about.
They get the regular rental income, plus they get the capital growth.
So I think everybody, or just about everybody, should look at investing in the property, but it's all about, like I say over and over again, investing into the right properties in the right markets at the right time, and then getting out at the right time. So you don't have to go through all the pain and suffering that most investors have to go through just through a lack of knowledge. And when we talk about traditional property investors, there's only 7.9% of Australians that have got one or more investment properties. Only 0.07% of those people get to 6 or more. And to me, that is unbelievable. The vast majority only get to 1 or 2 because they've just got no idea what they're doing. I mean, how unbelievably sad, all these people having a go, but they just got no direction, no idea what they're doing.
A lot of them are in a position to be able to get more property, but they just don't have the knowledge or expertise to make it happen.